What's up, guys? This is JR and this is Fight Talk. Today I'll be talking about the UFC 200 results. Now, I know I did do a prediction video on this card. I did do it on Daniel versus Jones and then Daniel versus Silva. But I'll tell you the rest of my predictions for UFC 200 and then the main card. I know this card was stacked from top to bottom, but I just want to talk about the main card and my predictions for Velasquez, Velasquez versus Brown. I was picking Velasquez to win via KO TKO. For Aldo versus Edgar, I was predicting Aldo to win via unanimous decision. For Cormier versus Silva, I was picking Cormier to win via TKO KO. Lesnar versus Hunt, I was picking Hunt to win via KO TKO. Tate versus Nunes, I was picking Tate to win via unanimous decision. Now I'll tell you the results of all the pay-per-view card. You know, this card was a very good card. A lot of action. I liked it. Some of the fights were, somewhat boring for the fans, but very good technique, and I really saw that happening with some of these fights. Now, for the first fight for the UFC 200 was Cain Velasquez versus Brown, Travis Brown. Now, this fight was very interesting. But we saw Velasquez being the same old Velasquez, the world champ Cain Velasquez, and coming up with a win, TKO in the very first round. He was coming in strong, and we saw the old Velasquez, like I was saying. Very good fight. Can't wait to watch Cain in his next fight. I say he does fight for the heavyweight title, and that will be interesting. For Aldo versus Edgar, now this was a very good performance out of it. Aldo coming back out of the KO loss to Conor McGregor, very good comeback win for him. He won via unanimous decision. I saw this happening because I thought Aldo, if it was the old Jose Aldo, I think the old Jose Aldo could beat Frankie Edgar. Because Frankie Edgar, yes, he was doing very well in his past fights, but I didn't really see much improvement. I saw the same Frankie Edgar. He did look somewhat better, but Jose Aldo getting the job done. Edgar is a phenomenal. He is an awesome fighter, and he will be up in the ranks for a long time in that division. Now we'll go to the next fight: Cormier versus Anderson Silva, the Spider, versus DC. Now this was interesting because Silva was taking this fight in 2 days' notice. He hadn't trained. He was coming out of a surgery, and this was just a easy fight for Daniel Cormier. For what he does as a wrestler. This was one of those fights that the fans were booing because Daniel Cormier was just on top of Anderson Silva. And yes, if this was a stand-up fight, I think Anderson Silva could win that fight stand-up. But Daniel Cormier has great wrestling. He used that great wrestling against Anderson Silva and got that unanimous decision. Anderson he did fairly well. I thought he was going to lose via KO TKO because we saw him get dropped against Michael Bisping. So I was thinking, Cormier could drop him just as easily. But, he did a great job evading those punches and, staying in there. So the next fight was Brock Lesnar versus Mark the Samoan Hunt. Now this was very interesting because Lesnar hadn't fought since 2011, hasn't had a win for a very long time in the UFC, been away for 5 years, and Mark Hunt has 3 in a row KO wins. But, the question was, can Lesnar, stop Mark Hunt with his wrestling? And that's what he did. He got a lot of good takedowns. Yes, his stand-up looked fairly iffy stand-up, but he did a very good job fighting from the outside and just going for those takedowns and ground and pound all day. And that was the fight. That was pretty much the whole fight. Wins by unanimous decision. I'll be very curious if he comes back and who fights again. I think he should fight a big name guy, and just entertainment. I think Lesnar is good for ticket buying, to getting fans to come to events and things like that to buy the tickets. So I can't wait if he fights again. I'll definitely be watching that fight. Now for the main event of the evening, Cupcake versus the Lioness, Tate versus Nunes, Amanda Nunes. This was an interesting fight. I did not know that Amanda Nunes had very good power. She packs a punch in her punch, and she looked very good against Miesha Tate. She was getting the job done in the very first round via submission. Landed good combinations. We saw Tate, really trying to survive in there. Somehow she got down, and Amanda just went on her, got back control, and wrapped that neck with a rear naked choke. Now, like I said, I was very impressed by Amanda Nunes. I can't wait. I like to see her fight. Maybe Ronda Rousey. That would be interesting because her stand-up looked very clean and very promising. Now, this card was a fun card. Like I said, just want to mention some other fighters who was in the card who did very well. Kevin Gastelum versus Hendricks. Gastelum looked very good. I think Hendricks should move up a weight division. He looked like he had a tough time. He didn't really make weight. He looked like he had a tough time trying to make weight. I think he should bump up a division. And Gastelum looked very clean striking against Hendricks. Also, we saw Dillashaw versus Sun Tzu. Dillashaw redeeming his only loss, I believe. No, not his only loss, but one of his losses, Rafael Sun Tzu, and he won that by unanimous decision. Very good job by Dillashaw. Can't wait to see if he gets the title shot next. And those were pretty much some of the good ones I saw. A lot of these fights were very good, guys. This whole card was a good card, like I said, and we'll see what happens in the future, guys. If you like this video, go ahead and like it. If you want to see more of my videos, go ahead and subscribe, guys. I'll try to put some more content out there, talk about some UFC and some boxing out there.